Om Shri Sai Ram. Humble prostrations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Master, Bhagavan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Gita Vahini, Chapter 4. Further discussion of grief at killing, cultivating fortitude and its benefits, action without desiring the fruit, the yoga of intelligence. Summary. Krishna says, Arjuna, the intellect or buddhi too is destroyed when death comes to the body. At one stroke, all is forgotten. Memory is the function of the intellect, not of the Atma. The Atma does not die. The body does not stay. The Atma does not derive joy or grief whatever happens or does not happen. Only when the senses start contacting objects are the twin distractions of joy and grief produced. The object-word movement of the senses is the cause of grief and its twin, joy. Wear the armor of fortitude and the blows of good and bad fortune can never harm you. The word fortitude, titiksha, means equanimity in the face of opposites, putting up boldly with duality. It is the privilege of the strong, the treasure of the brave. Fortitude is not the same as tolerance or sahana. Tolerance is putting up with something, tolerating it, bearing it because you have no other choice. Having the capacity to overcome it, yet disregarding it, that is the spiritual discipline. Patiently putting up with the external world of duality combined with inner equanimity and peace, that is the path to liberation. Generally, people seek only happiness and joy. Under no circumstance do they desire misery and grief. Happiness makes one forget one's obligation to oneself as a human being. Grief renders one alert and watchful. Misery also endows one with new and valuable experiences. Happiness draws a veil over the experiences. It is best to regard both happiness and misery as gifts of God. That is the easiest path for one's own liberation. The wise one is unaffected by the ever-present dualism of the objective world. The wise one is the person referred to as dhira. To deserve the status, one ought to earn victory over internal rather than external foes. The exploit is to conquer the twin foes of joy and grief. You might still ask what the gain of victory is. The gain is immortality. When you rise above joy and grief, bliss is absolute, independent, and full. Atma neither kills nor dies. These are just phases of the cause-consequence duality. The Atma cannot be the cause or consequence of any action. It is changeless. There are 6 forms of modulation or modification: originating, existing, growing, altering, declining, and getting destroyed. These are the 6 transformations. The Atma is not born, so how can it die? Whom does it kill? It is unborn, eternal. Just as a person discards old clothes and wears new ones, the dweller in the body or dehi discards one body and dons another. The body is to the individual what clothes are to the body. The foremost duty of a warrior is to stay on the side of dharma and destroy adharma. The sin, on the other hand, lies in avoiding the chance to destroy the wicked in prolonging the agony of the virtuous. Be of fixed mind. Do not give way to either one or the other among all the dualities of the world. When desire to attain the fruit of action is renounced with full awareness, then it becomes the yoga of intelligence. When action is done with a view to gain therefrom, one must suffer the loss, the pain, and even the punishment. But desireless action frees you from all these. Desire the fruits of action and get born again and again caught up in that desire. Give up that desire and you are liberated from the flux. The goal is action, not its fruit. the Lord has laid down 4 commands, a do and 3 don'ts. The first insists on the cultivation of strength. The rest require the avoidance of weakness. Arjuna is only the representative man. The Gita is addressed to humanity. Not all yearn for the nectar, and if you do, then give up the desire for the fruit of the action and dedicate everything at the feet of the Lord. Key takeaways from this chapter. First, the differentiation between fortitude and tolerance is beautifully illustrated. Tolerance indicates a state of compulsion, forced acceptance, while fortitude is an active acceptance, where despite alternate options, you bear what needs to be borne in the pursuance of your duty, irrespective of the pleasure or pain that it throws forward. Fortitude demonstrates forbearance and a deference to a higher truth than what is presented to the senses in the world of duality. Second, viewing quality of experience as an intended outcome of life may be a more practical way to look at life rather than an intent to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. Attending a college where no lectures are conducted may be enjoyable for a while, but later the idea of knowledge being gained produces dissatisfaction. Similarly, if we value experience and learning, whether pleasurable or otherwise, higher, then dealing with the ups and downs of life may be far easier. Third, the unborn, eternal Atma, being untouched by duality and being an eternal witness, is beautifully illustrated here. Within our minds too, when we observe ourselves carefully, we feel sensations of emotions to a given event. But at the same time, we also have discriminating intelligence that simply observes the body going through those emotions. If we connect our awareness more with that observing mind rather than the emotion or thought-driven mind, we can tide through life's challenges effortlessly. Fourth, viewing actions as a tool of liberation rather than of material reward is the key shift required in our attitudes in life. Seeking fulfillment through the mere performance of right actions may not always be pleasurable, but is always satisfying. Holding on to that principle alone and not seeking additional reward is the key to our own liberation. End of chapter 4. Jai Sai Ram.